something more. Not just sound, but surrender.
All right, legends, a little bit of a Sunday update. What can we expect here from the market? And, on a Sunday, I like to do a little bit of market preparation in terms of what could we potentially expect for the week coming ahead. And next week, as you all know, is a little bit of a slowdown, silly season, time where people spend with friends and family and just relax and kick off their shoes. So I'm not sure if there's going to be a lot of volatility next week. The market might surprise us, but welcome to this live stream. Make sure that you smash up that like button if you haven't done so already. Let's get into the technical analysis. Let me put myself here in the corner, put the music back on. Right, legends. Let me just put it ever so softly there in the background. Hope you're all having a fantastic weekend. Here we are on a Sunday doing a little bit of technical analysis. So I have not done any technical analysis yet for today. I thought, well, let me take you through my thinking process as I prepare for the week. And right, for now, price just does not want to fall, which is very interesting. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Price does not want to capitulate to the downside. What does that mean? So there's a little bit of a conundrum that I'm seeing here at the moment, is that price is not capitulating. It's not giving us that low that we are all waiting for, finding support, and then we get another one of this over here. Okay, so the one thing that I'm considering is to say that, well, considering the time of year that we are in, maybe next week and the week after with New Year's and everyone not really paying attention to the market, we could potentially go into a longer consolidation, okay, before we actually leave the zone. Okay, so that would be, or are we going to get that New Year's dump or the New Year's pump? That would be absolutely amazing. Right, legends, that's what we need to analyze. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on the larger time frame. I want to talk about this structure. Okay, you all remember this structure? I want to talk about this structure. This structure used to carry the highest probability, but now it's starting to carry lower probability. Okay, so we're going to talk about the structure here on the daily, on the daily time frame. We're going to go and spend some time inside of this structure, and then locally it's an absolute mess at the moment. It really is an absolute mess. To count this, okay, from an Elliott wave perspective, is an absolute mess. But we have levels that we can keep an eye on to see those reactions and enter those great risk opportunities or trading opportunities with great risk management. Let me rather rephrase it like that. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes. Legends, you all remember this scenario. Okay, so on the daily time frame, let me just take this out the way. Let me take that out, take the parallel channel out. Okay, so let's look at the scenario. Since we created, okay, just do, you know, this is how I like to analyze the market on a Sunday. I look at the daily, I work my way down. Okay, so from a daily perspective, since we made this low over here, okay, and this high over here, the movement down does look corrective, which is the good news. It does not look impulsive, because there's an issue starting to create. And when you create a correction to the downside, you always increase the probabilities of claiming that high again. Okay, regardless of how deep this goes. Okay, we're going to analyze that. So what I can see here on the daily time frame is the following. Okay, so we have that potential for the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5. And this could be your A, B, C. But this C wave is starting to show some issues. It just has to be said that the C wave is starting to show a little bit of issues. Because if this is a C wave forming over here, let me show you what I mean. A C wave has to be an impulsive structure to the downside. It has to be a 5-wave structure. So let's zoom into this structure over here. Guys, and I know I'm keeping it simple. I'm just using my drawing tool over here, okay? If this is an A, this is a B, and this is your C wave over here, you have to count a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and you have to make another low to have a valid C wave. At least another low to create a C wave. If price stops here and it starts making a higher high, okay, it's not going to look like a great ABC scenario. So for price to stop here and continue momentum to the upside, we need to see one more low. But there's another problem that I've identified inside of this structure. It's not an invalidation, but it does impact probabilities at the moment. Because as price develops, you can start building probabilities and giving one scenario higher probabilities and another scenario lower probabilities. And sometimes that happens. Well, it actually happens a lot. It happens very often, guys, where you have a high probable scenario that gets invalidated, where one of your lowest probable scenarios starts gaining in probabilities as you get more information. So let me explain. Okay, when I look at this move here to the downside on the daily time frame and I switch this scenario on, okay, so we've basically formed that A, the B and a WXY, WXY. It has to be set. Y is very short, doesn't matter. There is a couple of issues with the structure, but I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. But you have to form a 5-wave move to the downside. So this is what I'm currently seeing as the issue at the moment. When I look at this 5-wave move to the downside, remember we had a 1, a 2, okay? And we had another 1 and 2. Then we had 3. And then we had 4, 5, 4, 5. Do you remember it? Then I changed the scenario because of what happened here. Okay, and it's all got to do with channeling, guys. If you are expecting another 1 and a... Oh, sorry. Let me take that out. If you're expecting a double 1, 2, this is your first, another 1, 2 over here. Okay, and now you have a 3, and you're still forming the 4. And I start using channeling, Elliott wave channeling. They do teach you Elliott wave channeling. Take a parallel channel. I connect it with a magnet. Okay, this is how I like to do it. To the low of 1. Okay. Then to the low of 3. I just want to make sure that I get this correct. Then to the high of 2. Okay. Sorry, no, that's wrong, guys. That's wrong. Oh, I'm losing my marbles here. I'm losing my marbles. It's 1. It's 2. It's to the top of that. No, it's also wrong. Oh my God, guys, I'm getting this completely wrong. 1, 2. There we go. Okay, I've got it marked wrong here. So from the high to the low to the high. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I lost my marbles there for a second, but I'm back on track. Right, so I am now channeling this 1 and 2. 1, 2. Okay, so you need to connect it to the high, you need to connect it to the low, and you need to connect it to the high. Okay, that's basically how the channeling works. So in this scenario, let me just switch that magnet off. Okay, your 4th wave ideally does not break the top of the channel. So if you're still expecting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, inside of this structure, there's a problem. Can you guys see the problem over here? Price is above the channel, and it doesn't invalidate a 5th wave to the downside. It significantly decreases the probabilities for this scenario. Okay, so this is why I've now changed the count to say that, well, what if it's not a double 1, 2? What if it's just a normal 1? Okay, what if it's just a normal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Then I can change the channel. Because then I take a different channel, again, from the high. Let me switch the magnet back on. To the low of 2, to 2 and to 1. Right. Well, now you can see, okay, now the channel is perfectly fine, okay, because in this 1, 2, 3, 4, we did not tap the top of the channel yet. Remember, it is most common in an impulsive structure that your 4th waves, when you have multiple 1, 2s, triple 1, 2s, quadruple 1, 2s, that your 4th waves does not tap the top of the parallel channel. That is, and when it does, it starts decreasing the probabilities for that specific impulse. Okay, but now if I do count it like this is now the problem that I see, is if I count now a 1, a 2, perfectly fine. I can see a beautiful 5-wave structure, a beautiful corrective structure in a 1 and a 2. But now here's a problem. Because in the 3rd wave, okay, on the daily time frame, on the higher time frame, I can see a 1 and a 2, and I can see a 3. But I do not see a 4 and a 5. I do not see a 5-wave structure inside of the 3rd wave. So now you guys can see why the structure is starting to become concerning to me, because we went out of the channel for this 1, 2, significantly starting to decrease the probability. If I change the count to say that, well, okay, maybe we have not tapped the top of the channel, maybe this is the 1, 2, 3, okay, we're going to create the 4, and we're going to start falling down here any second to make that other low. Well, where is 4 and 5? So obviously, ladies and gentlemen, this is not an invalidation, but I'm starting to give this scenario lower probability. By all means, if price does fall here to the downside without tapping the top of the channel, I will be ready. I have my alarm set. I have a trading plan to the downside. I hope we make another low because, I have a trading plan ready to get Bitcoin at lower prices. But I have to acknowledge the fact when a structure starts carrying lower probability, then maybe, just maybe, we're going to get a little bit of either a longer sideways correction, or you take out this high again, you break the channel and we go up, and maybe we can come and eat up the high here at $107,000. That's definitely a possibility. So I need to consider these possibilities because the impulse to the downside is not looking sexy at the moment. Okay, so I just had to highlight the scenario and talk about what is concerning me with the scenario. What is starting to make a little bit more sense for me is to actually count this as a three-wave structure. You have an A, you have a B, and you have a C. Okay, let's make that nice and juicy fat so everyone can see it. Now, in this scenario, there's no mistakes. It's beautiful. It balances. You end usually a C wave on a high amount of volume. Okay, I'm late, Mr. Joan. Welcome to the live stream. Let me say hi to the community before I continue. I'm in a long since 88,250. 88,250. Oh, right. Okay, right in this zone over here. Beautiful, beautiful afternoon all. The scalpers here in the house. Mr. Jack, always appreciate the moderators being here. Hey, Dewald, welcome, man. What's up, Mohammed? Great to see you here. Dewald on a Sunday, very rare. Yes, just like some of the structures I'm about to share with you guys, is that some structures are just rare, and some structures, well, like this one that I'm sharing with you now, actually is starting to carry higher probability. But now you might be asking me, well, Dewald, what does it mean? Okay, what does this mean? It means that you cannot end something in a three-wave structure. It means that the probabilities are still high to claim this low in a three-wave structure. It means that the correction can still continue for a very long time. But it also means that you could still move higher before you take the low. And I can take advantage of that move. Whether it makes a lower high and falls, or literally it just taps this high and it falls, okay, I can take advantage of this move. And I do think that probabilities are starting to shift, that there's a higher chance that if price continues to the upside, it's not going to sustain, it's going to fall down again. So this, what I've just drawn over here, is starting to look like the highest probable scenario. We either take this high, or we get very close to it, or we go sideways for longer. And this is the two highest probable scenarios at the moment. We either continue sideways, considering where we are in the time of the year, Christmas, New Year's. Maybe we just get no price action, significant price action. Maybe we're going to just trade this range, okay, until the range is finished and we either break down or we break up. But if we do continue sideways for longer, it increases the probabilities that we're going to take the high before, or the low before we take the high. Unless price gives us a little bit of a Christmas or New Year's pump here to the upside, and we at least, okay, tap this high or get very close to it. Okay, that for me is a very interesting scenario, what I've just drawn out over here. If we get bullish momentum, but now you have to keep in mind, guys, you have to keep in mind, to end on a three-wave structure, it doesn't matter how bullish people get, the bull markets, you can just imagine how social media is going to go crazy, okay? You have to stay level-headed. If you enter a long in this zone, maybe you're already in a long position, price moves up here to the upside, take profits, pay yourself, because it can fail and claim the low and leave without you, okay? And then you've held on to this trade for weeks and weeks and weeks. You didn't pay yourself, and now you have to wait for another trading opportunity, or maybe Okay, you enter a short successfully from a swing failure from this high over here. So from a market psychology perspective, I really like this scenario. Okay, it's the scenario I think that's really going to stuff with emotions. And you know, guys, the market is here to play with people's emotions, that tuck between fear and greed. Okay, bull market's back. Altcoins are starting to explode. Okay, and then you fail miserably and you fall to the downside. What happened? Everyone longed like crazy people in the zone. They got liquidated on the way down. And then finally, after the liquidation event, you get the momentum back to the upside. Okay, so from a psychology perspective, this is a beautiful scenario. You grab the liquidity above the high, and everyone that thought the bull market is back gets liquidated. Okay, or get scared out of their positions, depending on whether they played leverage positions or spot positions. And then the other scenario is we go sideways. Maybe we form a little bit of a triangle. Looks like we're going to break up and then we fail miserably to the downside. But that's why I say, guys, time will tell. If price keeps on going sideways for longer, for the whole of next week, for the whole of the week after that, during New Year's, first week into January, and we still have not claimed the high and we still have not claimed the low, there's a very high probability you're going to fall down. Okay, so the longer price ranges, the higher the probability that you're going to claim the low before you claim this high. So for the bulls, for that psychology perspective, okay, where we move up, they need to start kicking their feet into gear. The bulls need to start stepping in at the moment. These two are the highest probable scenarios that I see at the moment, instead of just falling now to the downside. Yes, I have my guys. I cannot predict the market, and no one can predict the market with 100% accuracy. But I can tell you now, if the sideways and the one more high over here does not play out, I am ready for this scenario. I'm ready for this scenario. Okay. So you have to always remember, guys, this can really morph into a much larger corrective structure. So I know that there are some people that ask me, well, Dewald, what if this is done? What if this is the low and we're going to continue the bull market and never take that low again? Well, you know, guys, I have to give the scenario probability. So if this is A, okay, and this is your B, this can't be a C. It's not allowed to be a C. So maybe this is then a W. This is a X. And then a Y wave is allowed to be a three-wave structure, A, B, C. It's allowed to be a three-wave structure. It's not common to see a flat corrective structure in a WXY ending in this matter. Another concerning thing, and now we're going to get to the structure over here. Okay, I'm going to get to the structure. Another concerning thing that I'm spotting over here is to say that, well, even if this is a W and this is a X, for the people that believe the low is in and this is Y, okay? Because you have a three-wave structure, in X, you have a three-wave structure in W, so that makes sense, this makes sense, this makes sense, and this makes sense. Beautiful. So you have the possibility to continue. The problem is this structure. This is your problem. The structure that has now formed here is your problem. Because once you make a low, you have to count an impulsive structure to the upside. Inside of here, this needs to be an impulsive structure. So this is now where the problem lies, because I see that some people are talking about a WXY. The low is in, we're going to fly. Okay, so now let's get into the smaller time frames. For those of you that's not smashed the like button, remember to smash up that like button, okay, because this is where we do pure technical analysis. So guys, the first thing and the only thing that I look for from a technical perspective is once you form a low and there's a possibility for that low to be in, I have to count an impulsive structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so impulsive structure meaning that I want to see a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. Okay, we didn't get a normal impulse. Now I have to consider diagonals, okay, because we've just been stuffing around in this range. So the only diagonal that I see a lot of people are talking about is this one over here. Okay, inside of this diagonal, you have formed a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. You take a fib from the low to the high of 5, and you can see, well, we've made a higher low. This looks great. Let's rock and roll to the upside. But there's a problem. There's a big problem with this diagonal, and I cannot give this the highest probability. So in even the bearish case scenario that I've shared with everyone, I said we could still go up to $107,000 even and still take this low, because this diagonal carries low probability, very low probability. And let me explain why. Okay, guys, you have to look for those little clues, and I always look for those clues. Is that in a diagonal, a leading diagonal, you have to now classify this as a leading diagonal. If any of the waves, especially if your first wave starts as a 3-wave structure, all of your waves has to be 3-wave structures. If your first wave starts with a 5-wave structure, all of your impulsive structures, meaning, okay, if one starts with 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, 3 has to be 5 waves. Okay, beautiful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, tick, tick. Now we get to 5. What on earth is this? 1, 2, 3. Where's 4? Where's 5? 5 is a 3-wave structure. Okay, so let's go and see if we can count each structure as a 3-wave structure then. Because 5 is definitely a 3-wave structure. There's no arguing about a 5-wave. This is a 3-wave structure. There's my clue. My clue is number 5. I can clearly see a 3-wave structure, which means that number 3 and number 1 has to also be 3-wave structures. Well, I can in number 1, so let's look at number 1. I can count a WXY. On the smaller time frames, I can count a WXY. Tick. Now here's your problem. Number 3. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot count a 3-wave structure in number 3, especially if I go here on the 1-hour time frame. I've spent a little bit of time, okay, on this third wave to try and figure out, well, can I count a 3-wave structure inside of 3? Okay, if you can, Mr. Joan, I see you in the live stream as well. Be my guest, guys, because you can force, okay, you can force a 3-wave structure count in here, because I see some people are going A, B, C. Okay, your A and your C is extremely out of proportion, because in 3-wave structures you want to see proportion between your legs. Okay, you want to see, and this one is a beautiful 3-wave structure. It has proportion. Then I see there's some people that's saying, no, this is your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's A. Okay, that's B. Wow, really short B. Okay, and then that's C. Now again, you have C and A out of proportion. Also, from a timing perspective, guys, I can go into all the details in here. Okay, I'm telling you now, there's a much, much higher probability that this is a 5-wave structure. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Beautiful, no mistakes, balance is perfect. Mwah. Even from a channeling perspective, I went and I did channeling even on this structure. It's a beautiful 5-wave structure. There's no denying that this is a beautiful 5-wave structure. Okay, I don't know if I still have it saved. I'm going to have to go look for it, but let me try and do it here quickly. Okay, take your magnet from number 1 to number 2 to number... There we go. I mean, from a channeling perspective, this is a beautiful impulse, guys, and this is what I do, okay, to try and determine probabilities. You have a 1 and a 2 inside of your channel. It's so common for your third wave to break out of the channel. Very common. It breaks out of the channel. Your fourth wave did not tap the bottom of the channel, and you make your final high, and then you lose the channel. So that beautiful impulse. Okay, so now just to show everyone, well, what do I actually look for? So if I now look at the structure again, so for those people that's following social media, I see the structure all over social media at the moment. There's a problem. That's your problem. Okay, you can count a 3-wave here, you can count a 3-wave here, but this is a 5-wave structure. So I cannot give this scenario the highest probability. I'm still talking about it because maybe, just maybe, this is the weirdest looking ABC that I have ever seen. Okay, so, and then we go to all-time high and we're like, okay, well, we have now seen something that hasn't played out before. So maybe this was a 3-wave structure. Okay, so giving the bulls the benefit of the doubt, you have seen that on the larger time frame, you can count a corrective structure that ends here in a WXY. It's not common to see a flat in a WXY, like I've just explained on the larger time frames. And then since we made this low, you have a problem over here. If price goes and claims the all-time high, I'm going to say, well, it is what it is. Okay, it is what it is. Right, but I can tell you now that I will most likely be positioned. If I'm not sleeping and I am in front of the chart, I will most likely be positioned in that long. Okay, because I can tell you now that if I go back here onto the 4-hour time frame, guys, it's not about being right or wrong. It's about being positioned. Because in all the scenarios that I've just explained to you, where I keep on saying, well, there's a high chance that we either chop sideways, okay, for longer and we take the low, which we're going to have to, you need patience for this one. Price action just needs to, okay. But there's also another scenario where we go up, we grab $107,000 and then we fall down. I can take advantage of that. And if this is the low in a WXY and we're going to claim the all-time high, well, then from a trading perspective, it becomes about trade management. So if you are in a long, okay, well, let me talk about myself, guys. Let me talk about, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a crazy dude here on YouTube telling you what I would do in this situation. I will definitely take profits, but I will leave some of the position open. And I will de-risk my position, so if it wants to run, let it run. That's, you know, if I'm wrong, I can still make money from being wrong, as long as I'm positioned. And how I plan to trade the position is, yeah, because I know from a channeling perspective, if we break out and we start closing high time frame candles above the channel, there's a good chance that price is going to claim this high. That's how I can position myself. Whether it falls down or whether it continues, I can take advantage of that move. And if I get stopped out, I will get stopped out with profits. This is how I plan to trade it. Okay, so you can see it's not about being right or wrong. It actually comes down to how you manage your trade. That's what it comes down to. Are you positioned? Because I can tell you now, if price is here and I'm still not in a long, for whatever reason I missed the long to the upside, I ain't FOMOing in this long. There's no ways I'm FOMOing into this long. Because if this is a 1 and a 2 and a 3 here to the upside, I want to see increasing volume. Okay, it needs to be higher volume than this little structure because that's common for your third wave. I will wait for 4 and I will wait for 5. That's my shorting opportunity and that is my longing opportunity. So if I'm wrong, you still have a chance because you want to see a 5-wave structure up. If you are wrong, you want to see a 5-wave structure up. Every 5-wave structure has to correct itself. It's the correction that becomes interesting inside of the zone when you take a flip from the low to the high. But I can tell you now, if the structure does the following, okay, let's say it moves up, takes the high, gets close to the high, and it starts falling down. And it claims the 0.618, depending on where that high, or it taps these highs. Okay, it taps these highs, 618, depending on how high price goes. Then you have, ladies and gentlemen, you have a 3-wave structure. You do not, and if you tap the 0.618, you don't have a fourth wave anymore, which increases the probabilities you're going to take that low. So you end in a three-wave structure and you fall down. Okay, so it becomes about how you manage your trade at the end of the day. That's basically what it comes down to. Okay, but this is the best wave to trade. Whether this is a WXY, whether this is an ABC, whether this is a 1, 2, 3, this is the best wave to trade. I don't care what structure it is. It's the best wave to trade. You take profits, and if it makes a 4 and a 5, well, that becomes an interesting shorting opportunity. Okay, and also a very interesting longing opportunity. Excuse me. Anyways, guys, let's get back into the structure because I'm deviating over here. Okay, I'm losing myself here because I'm so passionate about these structures and scenarios, and I just wanted to share with everyone why I'm giving this scenario the lowest probability. Okay, so let's take this out the way. So now, which structures do carry the highest probability? Okay, so let's talk about these structures. For me, the structures that carry the highest probability is that we've either formed a nice little large W over here, a very ugly, disgusting W, which, by the way, is perfectly fine because X waves, okay? Let me just put that there. From an education perspective, this mess that doesn't make sense is so characteristic of X waves or B waves. They are so characteristic. So you form a three-wave structure in a W, a nasty, complex, ugly corrective structure in a X, and you go and you form an A, B, C in a Y to complete the structure. And then you have a three-wave structure, you fall down. Now you guys can see how the larger time frame starts flowing into the smaller time frames. So definitely an interesting shorting opportunity with the levels. I will measure it from a FIB perspective. Okay. And okay, but now I also realize it's not easy, legends. If price falls down and claims the low again, well, you could still form an A B flat, and then a C to the upside. Okay. And then maybe that becomes A. You then do a B again, and then you go up for a C. But inside your Y wave, you've basically formed an A, B, C. So this can still get very, very complicated and complex to trade. And unfortunately, corrective structures are very difficult to trade. And this is why most people, okay, unfortunately, and this is how the market works, this is why most people make money when we do this, and they lose it when we do this in consolidation areas because they don't know how to trade them, and rightfully so. They are very complex to trade. So I don't know what's going to form here, but the most interesting trading opportunities for me is the long in the Y, maybe the short, okay, to take the low again. Once we take the low, longing opportunity. But you can see if I focus here on the 4-hour time frame, well, there's nothing for you to do at the moment. You're just going to have to be patient. Okay, remember what I said in the short that I posted the other day. Most people are still not profitable as traders because they are over trading. Okay, sometimes you just need to be patient and you have to wait for the structure that you want to see before you take that trading decision. Okay, so another scenario is, let me just draw it out here quickly, is we're just forming a much larger triangle here. Guys, I don't really like this scenario, okay, but it's valid. I have to consider it. It's valid. Where you basically form a W, X is not in yet, and we go up for Y. But you can see it's still a three-wave structure up. Okay, inside of this you have an A, a B, a C, a D, a E. You break to the upside. So also trading opportunity. If I get this, I know how to trade the scenario, but I'm going to have to be patient for the scenario to play out. Okay. So after your D, that basically completes your X. And then you go up for an ABC to complete your Y wave. Okay, ABC. Which is the simplest structure inside of a Y wave, because you can also get a complex WXY inside of a Y. So guys, it does get very complex. But I mean, there's some interesting levels that I want to get into. So depending on how price reacts inside of this zone and how it forms I will have a better trading plan. Okay. Also, to the downside, looking, guys, and this is now where I throw Elliott wave theory a little bit out the window, is if I take a fib from the low to the high, while we have not claimed the 0.786 just as yet, we have not claimed the 0.88, because I also know if this is going to form potentially an A and a B and a C, well, these levels are still very interesting from a swing failure perspective. Exactly what we got at the 0.7 fib. Look at this, guys. Without knowing anything about Elliott wave theory, we got a beautiful swing failure pattern from the 0.7. Look at that. Beautiful SFP. You get acceptance back above the low. Okay, anyways, that's just some trading strategies. I just want to focus on the scenarios. So that's basically the scenarios for me at the moment that carries the highest probability. It has to be said, legends, and this is why I think there could be a longer sideways corrective structure. Okay. So remember in that scenario where I shared, what if we don't claim the high, and what if we don't claim the low, and we just continue sideways? What then? Well, then I have to consider this scenario, because when I take a fib from the low of W to the high of W over here and I drag it across, you have tapped the 0.7, which decreases the probabilities that if you are still going to form a Y wave in this region, you preferably do not take this high. Okay, so you could now build A, B, C, D, E. Okay, you build a triangle in your Y wave, and you fall to the downside. But so now you can see how I, as a trader, have to wait. I'm just going to have to sit on my hands and wait. From a higher time frame perspective, there's nothing for me to do. On the smaller time frames, the 5-minute, 15-minute time frame, I have daily levels, weekly levels, naked point of controls. I have many levels that I can keep an eye on for those little scalp trades. Okay, I'm now talking about bigger swing trades. You know, where I want to enter with $1 million position, a $5 million position. It's not time for me to even touch that account yet. Okay. So from a bigger position size perspective, for me, there's nothing to do. But there's loads of trading opportunities inside of this range, just like there was loads of trading opportunities inside of this range from a day trading perspective. Right, so those are basically the scenarios. Something else I wanted to check out is, I haven't done this yet because I've been busy with other things over the weekend, is that let's go check out the daily levels. Okay, guys, I will go through some comments in a moment. I'm almost there. Right, do we have fresh daily levels? We have a nice interesting day. If price falls to the downside, this is what I'm saying, guys. If price wants to go and fall to the downside, I have a daily level, another daily level. Okay. If price wants to continue here to the upside, well, I have another daily level, okay, at $92,000. Now, do we have a fresh daily level that I have not had included yet? Yes, I do. So let me clone that one, snap on my magnet, and there we go. We have another daily level to pay attention to. Okay, so those are the daily levels. Weekly levels, I will only get tomorrow morning because this candle is still busy forming. So if the week ends in green, I will have a fresh weekly level over here. Can you guys see? If the week finishes here in green, okay, I will have a new weekly level right over here. But at the moment, it's still Sunday. This candle has not finished, so I cannot put a weekly level here at the moment. Okay, right. So I want to go here onto the 1 hour, just make sure that I have all of my point of controls. I'm just going to do session volume profile for this. Wait for it to load up. Okay, there we go. So let me switch on my point of controls. So these are, guys, these are the levels that I use from a day trading perspective. So the WXY, the ABC, everything else that I've shown you on the 4-hour daily time frame, there's nothing for me to do there yet. There's nothing for me to do. So, but I can still day trade. Okay. Definitely, I can look at the local structures and still day trade. So do we have any? No, this one has been claimed. This one has been claimed. This one is still forming. I can't use this. This one has been claimed. So There's just, and this is what I told the pro community on Friday as well. There's no levels for me to trade inside of this zone. And if there's no levels and I cannot properly SFP a level or, a D-line strategy, a swing failure strategy, whatever trading strategy you use. For me, this price action did not fit any of my trading strategies, so I sit out the market. On Friday, I didn't take any trades. I just sat and watched the price action because it's a very confusing price action. And when price action is confusing, okay, even for professional traders like us, myself and Andy, we stay out of the market, okay? Unless you're just scalping, like Andy did on Friday. You did a couple of scalp trades to the up and to the downside. But we're not going to go in with $1 million positions. Right. So what I'll do is, I'm going to have to spend some time here on the smaller time frames to analyze what on earth is going in here. Because, guys, this is now what I'm saying. There's no, okay... Like even the D-line strategy, it's so messy. If I put it on this pivot, okay, it already broke out. Okay, but now it chopped through the trend line. If I put it on this, it's just there's nothing juicy for me to say that I have a high probability trading setup inside of this zone. The highest probability trading setup that I see is a short from these levels. Okay, you have beautiful consolidation, you have a naked point of control, you have a daily level. If price comes up here, I'm going to be looking for a short. If price falls down here, I'm going to be looking for a long. But in this zone, this for me personally, according to my trading plan, this is a no trade zone. I'm not interested to trade this zone. And sometimes you just have to be patient. And it's frustrating just to sit on your hands, but it's the one thing that keeps me profitable is to know when not to trade. If you have a trading strategy inside of this range, by all means, but I don't. I'm not just going to long and short for the sake of longing and shorting. Unless you guys, unless you SFPing this pivots, maybe it comes down, it SFPs the pivot. But these are small little scalp trades, small little scalp trades. I'm looking for a bigger trade, a bigger position, a short over here that could potentially fall, give me a bigger trade. SFP from here that can go to the high. I'm looking for trades like this. I'm looking for bigger trades. I don't want to scalp the range. I used to. It's not my cup of tea anymore. Okay. Remember, guys, links for the exchanges that I use on Valto. Lowest trading fees at the moment. Also your way to support the channel. I may earn commission from some of these links. And then also, if you did not know, I am doing a orientation for my course on Tuesday. So if you want to get a little bit more information. Maybe you've been sitting on the sideline, you want to do the course, but you need more information. So I'm going to do a little bit of an orientation on Tuesday where I just go and talk to people a little bit more about who I am, how I started. But I'm sure every one of you watching this stream at the moment, okay, you pretty much know everything about me at the, my trading strategies, who I am, how I started. You've watched my story, but this is specifically for new people, okay? Maybe you've been a new person, doesn't really know who I am. I'm going to do a little bit of an orientation, and this is where you register for the event. So, okay. And then there's my trading course, Bluffin, amazing, 15% cashback. Weeks always here with a 25% discount on trading fees. But Valto is the cheapest for me at the moment, guys. And I am going to throw a larger amount of money into Valto very soon, like next week already. And I'm going to start trading more aggressively on there. And right now, price is falling here to the downside. I mean, guys, I always say take a break on Saturdays, okay? Wow, if you were trading on Saturday, well, I think you could have spent your time so much better with friends and family, okay? It's so boring, guys, on Saturdays. It's typically 79% of the time, this is what you get, especially on a Saturday. I do expect volatility to start kicking in today because usually on Sundays, just before the market starts opening, even this price action is way better than what happened here. Okay, we already got the move up on a Sunday. We're now getting a little move down here. Maybe we could even fall down further, but on Sundays is where I start getting interested to place those trading opportunities. But Saturdays, guys, you need to take a break from the chart. Okay. You cannot stare at the candles every single day, 24, well, not 20, hopefully not 24 hours, but you guys know what I mean. Every single day, 7 days a week. You need to reset your brain. You need to touch some grass, hug a tree, walk your dog, do something else, reset your brain from the charts. And I like to do it on Saturdays because of this. There's nothing for me to trade here, guys, unless you aggressively scalping with extreme high leverage. It's just not for me. Okay, now let's go through some comments. Sunday Live, let's go. Yes, Mr. Jack. I've gone through these comments already. Call the Moon, aka the BTSC scammer. His Kasta coin is collapsing. Hope you didn't invest in his crap, Dewald. No, I don't hold any Kasta tokens. I don't. Fortunately, I can't say unfortunately, but no, I don't have any Kasta tokens in my altcoin portfolio. I didn't check. I must actually go and check it out. Devil Trading, I tried to explain to Andy, but I believe it is a triangle, a hole, and now we're starting post thrust, complex A, below 80k to 90k. High then down. Oof, it's so difficult for me to see the scenarios without actually seeing what you mean on the chart. Often you go, the pro community know already. If you want to tell me about your WXY or triangle and the B wave, like post me a picture of the chart. Okay, let me see, because sometimes, words can be very confusing. And I know, you're limited to what you can type on YouTube, but I prefer, if you can send me a picture of a chart. Right, and obviously that's where the Legends Pro community has the benefit, because they can send me their charts and ask for advice and guidance from myself and Andy and Dylan, and we can help them out. But I'm not too sure what you mean by your triangle, because the only triangle that I see here, and also which time frame are you referring to, okay? Because yes, I did go through that. This could be a W. You're forming an X in a triangle, or this is your W, okay? You A, B, C, D, E. You basically build a triangle. It could also be a B, guys. This is your A, and you go up for a C. B's also builds triangles just like X's. Triangles are allowed inside of B waves, inside of X waves. I think another interesting scenario, which I actually shared with the Legends Pro community, but I haven't spoken about it. Let me take the levels here out the way. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Just keeping it very simple over here, guys, is that could be a A. Okay. This could be a B flat that takes the low. Oh shit. Devil's fifth wave played out. The one that's carrying the lowest probability is playing out. We're taking the lows, and then we go up for C, and then we fall down. But all you basically formed is an A, B flat, C. Okay, so I can tell you guys now, the levels that I will have ready, that I have ready here to the downside, is you take a trend-based fib from the low to the high, you reverse it to the downside, like I'm doing right now, okay? And ladies and gentlemen, these are your B flat targets. So there's still a chance that this is a complex B wave in a flat, and you go up for a C, but it's still a three-wave structure, A, B, C. Still a three-wave structure. It's part of the same structure. This is not a fifth wave. Not a fifth wave, as long as it finds support inside of this box. But I'll be ready. I will have these levels ready. Very interesting low over there. Okay, 1.236, 1.382. I will be ready. On the higher time frame, I also have my VRVP levels ready, my daily and weekly support levels. Okay. 18th is wave B for triangle. 18th is wave B for triangle. Yeah, I know, Mr. Joan, guys, yeah, in the comment section, I know when he says something, he's onto something, because he's also inside of our Legends Pro community, providing many, not setups, scenarios. Okay, Elliott wave counts, but he's way better on the smaller time frames, okay, than me, because I don't like to stuff around on the smaller time frames anymore, like the 5 minute, 1 minute counts. Okay, I like to stick here 15 minute and upwards. But Mr. Joan here is a brilliant Elliott wave counter as well. Then problem is A, complex B also, yes, and I'm sure Mr. Joan is going to share all of his scenarios inside of our community as well. Okay, now I'm saying the 18th would be the E wave. Anyways, guys, we can talk about every single scenario every day here on the stream, okay? But it would be nice. I know Mr. Joan will share with me his pictures, because I'm a picture person. I learn through pictures. I'm a visual learner. And, right, so can't wait for your scenarios, Mr. Joan. Who else? Dewald, the most recent structure looks like a 3-wave up and a 3-wave down. The most recent structure, which time frame? 15-minute time frame? Yeah, I mean, if I'm focusing on the 15-minute time frame, this to me looks like a 3-wave structure. And I told the Legends, when I did my update on Friday to the Legends Pro community, I had, oops, for some reason, guys, my camera died. Let's just do something here. Let's see if it connects. Anyways, let me just, oh, there we go. There we go. Right. So I told the Legends Pro community, I was looking at a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this was it. But then there's a 1, 2, 3. I can't remember the exact structure, but basically what I highlighted is I cannot count an impulsive structure inside of this leg. So I cannot really label, I can't give a 5-wave structure the highest probability, but this definitely looks like a 3-wave structure. And you have a long consolidation. So this could potentially be a W, this could be a long X, this could be an A, this could be a B. Okay, B waves loves to be long, and now we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a chance that you could build an impulse here to the downside. Okay, but yeah, this structure up at this up at the moment does not look impulsive. This looks like the end of something. This looks like a structure by itself. Maybe this is the A or the W, and this is the X, and you're going to go A, B, C here to the downside. I don't know, guys. I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't have any levels to trade, and I need more price action for me to take a trading decision. I need to see this. Okay, oh, there's a trend. Interesting. There's a daily level here at the bottom somewhere. Interesting. Okay. Good evening, brother. Trader 5PD. Welcome, man. Bitcoin rose over the past 24 hours. 0.67. Yeah, that's absolutely nothing. Dewald, what about the course giveaway? I will still get back to you guys about that. It's just, it's a bigger discussion than what I anticipated. But I will still get back to you guys about that one. I haven't taken a single trade since the past 7 days because none of the scenarios fitted my trading rules. J Jack, I mean, you're singing my song at the moment, guys. You will never find me placing a trade unless I'm stuffing around. I'm just playing around with money that I'm prepared to lose. If a zone does not make sense to me, I don't trade it, because I know at some point it's just going to make sense again, and then I'm going to have beautiful trading opportunities. Okay, this, guys, has been an absolute nightmare to trade. This, for me personally, this has been an absolute nightmare to trade. I have not placed any trades. Yeah, nothing, because it doesn't make sense. I don't like the structure. But inside of this zone, I traded because the structure made sense. I knew where to look for longs. I knew where to look for shorts. So I have to wait for the structure that makes sense to me. And I have no issue telling people that I'm not trading in this zone. It doesn't make me a bad trader or someone that doesn't know what he's talking about. It means that I'm respecting my trading rules. Because the market will always give you something that doesn't make sense to you. And for me, this structure doesn't make sense. So I'm not trading it. I don't care. I'm not trading it. Okay, but I mean, this, guys, I did call this little structure here to the downside. Now, this way made way more sense to me. Okay, diagonal to the downside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is where I longed. high confluence trade for me, high probability trade for me. I had my stop loss at the 1-to-1 extension, which is the invalidation for this scenario. I traded the momentum here to the upside. I took profits, got out of the trade, and now I'm in no trade at the moment. So I don't have to trade every single scenario and opportunity. So Mr. J, yes, I absolutely agree. Okay, the legend himself. My rules say long. Right, well then, you need to respect your rules. What is CVD doing? Yeah, guys, if you want to scalp, by all means, okay? We are forming ever so slightly bullish CVD. I used to scalp. I don't scalp anymore. But we are forming a little bit of bullish CVD here on yellow. Nothing on blue, nothing on white at the moment. I mean, you can, guys, you can scalp the range. It just, I don't really like to talk about scalping because factually, okay, and this is a fact that I think scares a lot of people, is that if, okay, let me try and put it in perspective. Out of everyone that starts trading, okay, 95% of people fail. Everyone that starts trading, 95% of people fail. Of the 5% that actually makes it, okay, 99% of them are swing traders. They only succeed in swing trading. So of everyone that fails, only succeeds, out of that 5% that succeeds, only 1% are successful in scalping. And when I say successful, they can consistently make profits. Sorry guys, my camera I think is overheating, so it's going to keep on doing this. But they consistently make profits month after month, year after year, using a scalping strategy. So I can tell you now that if you are a scalper, then you are basically saying that you are the cream of the crop. You are the 1% of the 100% of traders that actually make it. Okay. So if you're scalping this range, you better know what you are doing. You better know what you're doing. You need to apply your risk management. Okay. Swing trading, and this is data that's released by prop firms, guys. Data that's released by prop firms say that out of all the successful traders that have not burned and lost their account, only 1% of those people are actually scalpers. And 99% of them are swing traders. So it's just, you look at the data, okay? You just look at the data. Oh, we actually took that low now. So bully CVD did not play out. But now, okay, this is now a scalping strategy that you could do. You could say, okay, SFP from the low, beautiful. You get in, stop goes below the low, price moves up, you start taking profits, you protect your position. So I can scalp, make no mistakes. I don't want to do it anymore because I don't have to do it anymore. Okay, for me, it's way more interesting to play larger positions. But yes, this is a beautiful scalp trade. You get in, you SFP the low, you apply your trading strategy, price moves up, you start paying yourself, protect your position, leave some of it open for higher levels, whatever your rules is from a scalping perspective. Okay, just want to see something here. Right, legends, remember to smash up that like button if you have not done so already. And it's been great talking to everyone here on a lazy Sunday when we're supposed to spend time with friends and family. Okay, so I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to kick off my shoes, relax for the rest of the Sunday. Thanks for joining this live stream. Remember, guys, links for the exchanges, the course, our Legends Pro community, it's all here down in the description. If you want to join the orientation for the course, okay, more than welcome to go and sign up for Tuesday. It will be a Zoom call, and have yourselves a great rest of the Sunday. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers for now.